Welcome to another genuine conversation on the Real Talk podcast. Real talk, real people, real conversations, real estate. On today's episode, I have Danny Kovack, and we're going to chat about real estate and our personal lives a little bit. One thing I want to touch on with you right away is what opportunities are you seeing for buyers out in this current real estate market?
This is definitely a weird market, and a lot has happened over the last 18 months. I think we're starting to see the market kind of even out a little bit. There's definitely opportunities to get seller paid closing costs. There's an opportunity to get a house at a good price. I don't think home prices are really going to go down much, but I think right now it's just a good time if you want to get a good value deal. I also think it's also a great opportunity to buy a USDA loan if you want to go further out. Those homes aren't as affected as much by the interest rates right now, and they're a zero down program. So
everyone loves zero down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's always like an interesting time. Like we kind of had this last year at times where like you can get seller paid closing costs, you can get something below what it's listed at, but prices still aren't necessarily falling. And that's just kind of like, if you price it right, do really good marketing, it's going to sell fast and sell right away. But there are times where there's not great marketing. I mean, an example is, our clients in Chisago where we were able to get that, it appraised $427. We got it under contract $420 with 10K seller pays. Mm-hmm. And that's like, $17,000 they just made. And it's like, in this market, really? But an interesting thing I saw, a little off topic, not off topic, I guess, but I saw that, I think Forbes was saying that 82% of consumers think that right now is a bad time to buy a house. Isn't that crazy?
It's just crazy how, like, the media in general wants chaos. Mm-hmm. I think we'd be lying if we said it was a great time for everyone to buy. I think it really comes down to a person's situation, and that's about it. You kind of have to know more about someone's situation to even recommend anything. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have like a 2.5% interest rate, and there's you're waiting for your kids to graduate high school, and then it's like, oh, maybe we downsize, but that's 7 years from now, and we have everything we need, and there's literally no reason for us to move. It's maybe not a great time for them to buy. Like, why would you go from 2.5 to 7.5 or 7 or whatever rate you end up with? But if you're someone that has a genuine need, like a genuine motivation to move, I don't know why you would necessarily be waiting for that. Like, obviously with the media and just probably what they're hearing from everyone, it's, a lot of negative stuff about the market, but it's interesting because that 82% is probably flipped in our industry where probably 82+% of lenders and realtors think now is probably a solid time to buy just based on what we think is going to happen in the future.
Yeah, and just kind of go off what you said, if someone has like a 2.75 interest rate and they're waiting for their kids to go to college so they can downsize, and they're concerned about, rates in the 7s or 8s right now, it really just depends. Because if you have a lot of equity and you have that 2.5% rate, just looking into what the payment would be on a place that you downsize, and seeing what the payment is. I mean, the rates are high, obviously, but if you can get a manageable payment and maybe get seller paid closing costs in this market, or even a good deal on the price, that could be a win in itself too.
Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of look back to that like 2020 around 2021 where it's like, oh, like you get a house for 3% interest rate and prices are so much lower. It's like, I want that. But I mean, I think it's very easy to like kind of look back in the past and like want things that used to be, but we just kind of have to adjust and say that this is the market now. Like prices aren't going to go down to where they were then. Interest rates aren't going to go down to where they were. And that's just, we have to face reality. But it's very likely that they get down to probably in the 5s. But knowing that like prices are going to rise again. So it's just kind of like taking that into account. It's like now makes sense if you have motivation. But
yeah, I think a lot of it is explaining to people that have never bought a home, what the refinance process is. Mm-hmm. Not promising when it's going to happen, but, people are comfortable with their payment now. Nothing lasts forever. I mean, there were probably people that refinanced to the 2s. They probably refinanced like 2 times before that, at some point, depending on how long they've been in the house. So for first-time home buyers, it can be really scary when you just see the interest rates right now. you're not really thinking about a refinance, right? You're thinking this is my payment like forever. I'd still go into it being comfortable with that payment. I wouldn't put yourself in a bad position, but just kind of explaining to them how rates go up and down, every couple of years.
Yeah, now there's a lot of things that kind of scare first-time home buyers. Like it's one thing I always say is like for us, it's when you've transacted real estate like a good handful of times, like you get used to it in a sense. It's like we've already done more transactions than probably the average consumer will do in their entire life. And when you kind of work with that first-time home buyer, it's like there's so many different things that can make them nervous along the way. And so that's why I think it's like super important to kind of go through and do a bunch of different things with them, such as like a buyer consult and whatnot. And like we've done that together where it's like you just sit down, get on the phone, and like really just explain things with people. And I think that's like super, super helpful. And I think like, that's just something we need to bring more to everyone at this point. Like with rates kind of being where they are, I just think people need more education. We need to like have that buyer consultation more often, which is something that people fight against a lot of the time. They kind of want to be independent. Like, I know what I'm doing. But, it's always beneficial when you kind of try to listen to the experts and try to take their advice, Like the analogy I've been using lately is, like if your doctor's like, hey, you should maybe eat healthy and exercise, they maybe have a point, Like if the doctor says eat healthy and exercise, you wouldn't necessarily go, nah, I'm going to smoke and eat burgers. That's generally not, don't want to go against a professional's opinion.
I think they kind of start. I've had a lot of people where I offer like an hour, 1 to 2 hour Zoom or Microsoft Teams call when people are getting pre-approved to kind of go through the whole process. What consists of your mortgage payment, what are the closing costs, different types of loans, stuff like that. And for people that have not done it, they have so many questions. Like once they get under contract or just during the process, because they didn't want to do it. And I don't know. But when people do it, they have a much better understanding of kind of what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah. Because it's like you don't know what you don't know.
No, there's just so many little things like, special assessments, right? Like they might not know anything about that going in. I mean, I think very few first-time home buyers maybe even know about special assessments.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of something that you run by?
I mean, there's so many different things that we run past. I mean, one thing that I was working on earlier that I really should finish up a little bit more is just kind of writing down lists of kind of expectations and just kind of really getting into the nitty gritty and just kind of beefing up that buyer consultation. Just because there's so many little things that kind of come up, and it's like I try to be efficient with time, and especially, I mean, maybe I'll run into it as much now, but it's like I like to really jump on properties. Like I don't want to kind of sit and mull about for 3-4 days because what if rates go up? What if another offer comes in? You just don't know what could happen with the unexpected, and so I try to kind of set that expectation, like, hey, let's get through all of your questions now, so when it comes time to write that offer, you're not like, oh, I'm nervous, I don't know these 20 things. And I think that efficiency can help get offers accepted.
So are you talking about once they get under contract or just looking in general?
Even at that buyer consultation, I'll bring the PA with me and I'll be like, hey, let me run through this. I'll touch on the main points. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'll send this home with you, try to read this over. Just when I send the offer, it's not oh, wow, all of it, 30 pages of contract that I've never seen before. And I'm nervous and I feel there's a time crunch and I'm just trying to alleviate some of that just because when you're nervous, you're generally not thinking super straight. And so if we can eliminate some of those nerves, I think that will help the whole process along for everyone.
Definitely. Yeah, it does feel like once we get a purchase agreement in and we start the process, feels like I'm going super fast just because I don't want the market to change or get worse. It's just so crazy how volatile everything is right now. Something that I tell someone on a Monday could be completely different by Thursday. And it's also just explaining that to people. You're not getting a certain promise on this rate or your closing costs for this rate. You have to be okay with a range.
Yeah, it's kind of like buying stocks in a sense, right? It's everyone wants to buy at the absolute lowest and sell at the absolute highest, but it's like, who really times that perfectly? Same sort of thing with interest rates. It's like everyone wants to buy at the absolute lowest, which I guess, do you know what that was? Was it 2.5, 2.25, or?
I mean, on a 15-year, you're definitely looking in the low twos, like high ones, with more costs and stuff. The VA loans were in the low twos. 30 years were in the mid to high twos. It's just funny. Like, looking back, when rates were that low, people were just, like, really picky, about, like, what they were getting, and, like, rates were, like, at an all-time low. And, I had only been doing this for 2 years, so I didn't really know what we had either, but next time they go down, I mean, just explaining to people you don't really know what you have until it's gone, too.
Yeah, well, I think the tough thing is just, like, as the market changes, like, every market just provides different challenges for everyone, right? Like, in super low interest rates, then it's like everyone wants to buy them, and everyone wants to buy them, and it's like you have to make super quick decisions, which sometimes leads to bad decisions. But in a super slow market, it's not necessarily super slow, but in a market where rates are a lot higher, you have more time to think, which maybe leads to more informed decisions. But on the flip side, maybe too much time to think also leads to bad decisions. So it's kind of like, I guess damn if you do, damn if you don't. It's like you just kind of have to continually adapt to the market and just keep learning, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many programs out there with down payment assistance, and I think just being able to explain to someone in rough numbers, if you're putting zero down and you are getting seller paid closing costs, you're having a little bit higher payment just because of the interest rates right now, but like you went into it with, you didn't put anything into it. So any money that you currently have is sort of helping you with these higher payments, hopefully, until rates get better too. There's so many different ways to look at it in a good way that I think people in the media just kind of want to, say the world is ending.
Mm-hmm. I think too, like, one thing that I guess people don't really touch on a lot, because it is extra work, but you do sweat equity on properties. I mean, like, if you're worried about rates and prices and things are super high, if you're someone that's, whatever, just starting out trying to get your first house, and you can go buy $100,000 to $150,000 condo that maybe needs some work, maybe sink $10,000 into it and make a $10,000, $15,000 profit on top of that, and just kind of keep rolling in and just do that. And maybe after a couple of years, you built up a little nest egg, then you go buy your first house. Or maybe you do that once or twice with condos. Now you have money, go buy a house, same thing, fix it up, refinance, pull that out. First strategy, like, just keep buying properties, acquiring rentals. Like, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to kind of make things happen. Or something I've been learning about lately is like subject to financing. So you just take over someone's payments, make the payments to the bank for them, and then kind of help them figure out that transition into a new home. And then you essentially, like, if someone has a 3% interest rate and they just need to get out of their property, they have no equity, you kind of pay them out if they were to say they're going to sell and they'd have to write a check to the agent, you could write them a check for $5,000, take over payments, and it's kind of like a win-win for everyone. I mean, that's something that, $5,000, like, you could get a whole property for $5,000, which is crazy. Or if you find a situation where maybe you don't need the $5,000, or you can get $5,000 from a parent. I mean, I can go on and on and on. There's just so many different ways to make things happen in real estate, but I think those get overshadowed a lot.
Yeah, speaking of, buying a fixer-upper, weren't you thinking of doing that in the kind of neighborhood that you live in now?
I would love to. Would love to definitely buy something in the neighborhood that I live in at some point in the future, but there's not a whole lot of turnover. Like, I was looking, I forget how big of a space it was, but it was like, out of 200 homes, there were like 200 to 400 sales ever in the MLS. So call it 300. Like, every house is turning over like 1.5 times, dating back to like the 90s. So these people just do not move out here. But I mean, if yeah, they're lifers. But like, if they bought in the 80s and they've been there 50 years, like, maybe they're kind of ready to transition into like senior living or something like that. So maybe there's potential going forward. I guess we'll have to see. We'll have to see how many houses I can sling in the future too.
I mean, is that because we're hitting the baby boomers, that are not moving out, or are people living longer? Like, what do you think is the main reason? I know a lot of people aren't selling because of like the switch in rates. so fast, but do you think like what would be like the second underlying reason for the supply right now?
You mean like the lack of supply?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like baby boomers, that's like a generation that needs to move when they need to move. Like, because for them, if they're just selling and moving into, like, say, senior living or moving in with family or something like that, then the buy side doesn't affect them, so they can sell whenever. But I think, like, I have looked a little bit into, like, the whole how different generations affect everything. I think one of the biggest things is that the average age to buy a home is 33, and I want to say the largest age group in the U.S. is 33-year-olds, which is about the average millennials. So it's kind of like a lot of people looking to buy that first home. So you also think, too, I mean, with rates being higher, maybe when they start to trickle down, maybe you see this huge explosion of, like, a lot of first-time home buyers flooding into the market. Then that also kind of brings in an interesting thing that I've been thinking about. It's like, what's going to happen to that, like, entry-level home, that starter home price point, that under $300,000? Because we have all these people that are, like, ready to go buy those houses, and as soon as they hit the market, they're going to be bought up. And when rates are lower, there's even more people out there looking for these houses. Like, eventually, prices are just going to keep rising, and then all of a sudden you can't find a starter home under $300, $350, and then your payment's at least $2,000. If you're a single person making, whatever, 50, 60 grand a year, that's, like, all of your paycheck, or vast majority of it. I guess, like, what are your thoughts on that?
Do you think that sort of in the metro area, there's going to be many homes even under 300? Are there a lot right now? Like, I don't know. This is your expertise.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just the mortgage guy.
I mean, it's like every year there's just less and less because that average home price goes up 5 to 10%. So it's like, I want to say it was like 380-ish is like the average home price. And then, like, just when I moved up here, like a year and a half ago, it was like 340 or something. So it's like it just keeps ticking up and up and up. And it's like, it depends on where you are. Like, there's parts like, you know, you can, for $300,000 in, like, Linden Hills, you really can't get anything, but $300,000 in North Minneapolis, you can get something much, much different. So there's definitely, like, pockets, but in general, like, 300,000 just doesn't get you too much, especially in comparison to what it got you, like, 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Are you seeing people move further out of the cities?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of migration out, like, looking at cities, like, just straight north. I mean, like the example I kind of have in my head is, like, Blaine. Like, my grandma was born in 1940, so she lived in Blaine, like, until, like, 56. And the population was under 10,000 at the time, and kind of farm town. Like, she lived on a farm, lived on a lot of acreage, and then eventually they bought that land, and I think they built a school on it or something, or I can't remember, but it's just something where back then, like, it was just nothing, like, so many less people, and now it's 60, 70,000 people in Blaine, like, within her lifetime. And then you see just everything moving farther and farther north. Like, Ham Lake is getting built up, Cambridge, Isanti, and then people are moving, you know, out west, you know, like what, Corcoran, Waconia. I mean, those areas are growing. Rogers, yeah, St. Michael. I mean, just because it's like, oh, you can, you know, move 20 minutes out and get more bang for your buck. It's like eventually those areas are going to be as expensive as it is in the metro now. So
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I've been, like, thinking I eventually kind of want to move a little bit further out.
What way?
Either north or west. Because I work in
Oak Grove.
Well, I work in Roseville, so I don't want to get too far. But yeah, because I originally thought I'd always kind of be near, you know, the cities, like near Minneapolis, because in college we always wanted to go downtown and have fun, and there was so much kind of fear of missing out on what people are doing. And then as I get older, I realize, you know, I just kind of like to. You don't do the things, like, you're not missing out on the things that you think you are as much anymore.
Well, probably, like, the friends that are your age probably aren't doing that stuff as much anymore either. So it's like, just in general, there's less to kind of miss out on.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I enjoy just kind of working out now, being home, watching TV shows, playing video games. I'm a pretty normal guy. I do feel like I am, like, a little bit of a jack of all trades, though. Like, I take my job really seriously, but I do like to go have fun and party, but still be responsible.
Yeah.
I don't know, what do you like to do?
A lot of different things. I Yeah, I've been all over the place lately. I've been trying to be a jack of all trades. I mean, I also work out sometimes too frequently. I've taken the last couple of days off because my body just ached and hurt. And I would just wake up and be exhausted and like everything just hurts. So I'm like taking a couple of days off, just trying to eat a bunch of food, just try to get back into it. Part of that too is like I started playing soccer on Sundays, so that's an extra 1,000 to 1,300 calories that I'm burning. So that just eats away at me because I just don't eat enough food to begin with, and then I work out a little too hard for the little food that I eat. So it's just kind of a vicious cycle. But I've been getting into like art and music, so I'm trying to play guitar more. I want to buy a keyboard, I want to learn how to like make music, do GarageBand, and all that stuff. I was stringing my guitar last night, and I'm not great with them, so I was turning it the wrong way, and like it was a brain fart for like 20 seconds. But with the tuning tool, you could really turn them. So I tightened it a little too much, and it just snapped. And it just whipped my hand. And so, like, you can kind of see it there.
Oh my gosh.
But it just, like, it was in a split second. I just heard this noise. I was like, what was that? And then I just had this, like, searing, like, line of pain across my hand. I was like, what just happened to me? And I, like, looked down, and I'm immediately, like, bleeding. I was like, oh.
So it was that fast?
Yeah, so I need to buy another guitar string. But I was able to replace 5 of the 6, so I'll take that.
Speaking of working out, when we worked out a couple weeks ago, you made me realize that I don't really work out that hard. Because I was sore for like 4 days. I was like, oh my gosh. You go hard.
Yeah, I like to take it intense. I mean, it's just kind of, I don't know, it feels good to kind of just deplete yourself. Like, you get more endorphins. It just kind of, for me, it's a really enjoyable experience, I guess. Like, I just like waking up, going to the gym. Like, at this point, like, I haven't gone to the gym since Tuesday. And yesterday I woke up and I was like, man, it's so weird that I'm not going to the gym today. And I was like, it's been 2 days. Like, is it that weird? Yeah.
You know what's weird is, like, I used to work out, like every single day when I was, like, working, you know, a job where I could, like, not bring my work in my head with me home, and I was in way better shape. And now it seems like with having a somewhat stressful job right now, it keeps me from getting to the gym as much as I would like. Like, so it's sort of the opposite. Like, they say you should go to the gym to, you know, relieve your stress, and then it's like I feel like I'm like I should be doing something I'm not if I'm at the gym. Like, it's weird. But like, I don't ever regret like going to the gym. I think the hardest part for me is getting there.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's applicable in a lot of different senses. Like, the one that I kind of think of is like when you're sad, when you're like depressed, it's like you don't want to do anything that's going to make you feel better. It's like you just kind of want to like you want to stay in like whatever state you're in. And so like if you're stressed, you just kind of like, part of you wants to stay stressed. You don't want to like go to the gym and just kind of go in that other state, but you just like force yourself like, whatever, I'm just going to put my shoes on and just go. It's like once you're there, it's like, well, I'm not just going to turn around and go home. Like, I might as well lift. And it might not be the best lift, but at least you did something. It's just like that just kind of starts to get you out of your mind. And, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I've seen like reels and like clips of older people, and they say the secret is just don't stop moving. I've been trying to watch kind of what I eat every day and how much, and I feel a lot better. Just going to the gym for a little bit. Like, you don't have to be, you don't have to do the Nathan workout. You know, like you can go and you can just you can get a little something, and it's still good for you.
Yeah, I mean, it took me a long time to build up to that. I mean, I started lifting probably sophomore, junior year of high school, and then we kind of did that for 2.5 years, 3 years in there, and then I was, taking it pretty intense like the last year and a half, but then I tore my MCL and then COVID, and then just kind of started getting into real estate and all that, and I just kind of fell to the wayside, and then I went, I don't love the way I feel, and I wasn't grossly out of shape, I just was like, this isn't, like, I'm used to being an athlete, like, this isn't it. And I just kind of wanted to, like, challenge myself and just kind of, I don't know, feel better and just kind of, like, push myself to the limit. But at first, it was really just, like, let me feel better, look better. And so, I mean, the first time I worked out, it was like, I'm sore for, like, a week. But then, so you work out, like, twice a week. And then you get a little bit better. You work out, like, 2, 3, 4 times a week. Then you just kind of start working your way up. And then now I work out I don't know, between 4 and 6 times a week. Like, it really varies, but it's when I go, like, I'm focused, I'm working out really hard, and I'm leaving it all out there, because, I don't know, just a little smile on my face when I do it, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like working out, it not only gives, like, the person doing it self-confidence, but this guy named Brian Decker, who makes a lot of Instagram content with, like, mortgages and kind of finance stuff, he said when someone walks in the room that is in really good shape, they immediately sort of command respect and discipline. So not just like from a working out standpoint, but from a business standpoint. Like, you know, if people see that this person has the discipline to like do something every day that makes them better, they're sort of taken a little bit more seriously. What do you think about that?
I guess I've never thought about that, but I think that's a good point. Like, I don't know, like when I see someone who's like really in shape, like I appreciate it, because I know, like, I understand like kind of what it took to get there. Like, if it's someone that's like in way better shape than me, I'm like, oh, what? But then it's also like, oh, that's like impressive, like, because I know, like, I think I'm in decent shape, and if someone's in like even better shape, it's like, well, I think I work out hard, but they must work out even harder, or take steroids, but probably just works out harder.
That's what I thought. I worked out with you. I was like, are we done yet? Are we done yet? No, we gotta keep going. Oh my gosh.
That was a light one too. That was a lighter one.
Well, this
Come
is
to
where
Metro.
What?
Come to Metroplex.
With the Ronnie Golden.
Yeah, Ronnie Colbert.
Ronnie Colt.
Yeah, buddy.
That guy looks like an evil villain. Like this. In his
when
prime.
he was 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little gross. A little gross to me. When he was like 240, 260, that's like prime. That's like no human will ever look better than that.
What does he eat?
Chicken and rice.
That's it?
He used to eat 600 grams of chicken. Or 600 grams of protein a day. Which is 2,400 calories of protein. Which, what, 600 grams? I don't even know how to equate that. Yeah. That's a lot. I mean, like, 1 3-ounce chicken breast is like 20 grams of protein. So, well, that's like 90 ounces of chicken. So, 4 or 5 pounds of chicken a day.
That gets to the point of like force feeding yourself. Like, is he like hungry for all that, or is he making himself eat it?
I think you have to like make yourself. For the most part, you make yourself eat like 6 meals a day. You just shovel it in.
Even with how many calories you burn, you're still making yourself eat that.
Yeah, because they just have to grow. Like, they just need to put in more calories in their body, so their body just keeps like growing.
It's like one of those things that you put in water, you know, and it keeps expanding.
Yeah, remember those things as kids, like the little like pills that they're
yeah.
Or there's like a snake or something you like put in the bathtub and it gets bigger.
It's not just to do that and make sure you're doing the exercises correctly, like consistently, is just kind of, you know, that's pretty impressive. You know, everyone can go there and just be there for a long time, but to be doing everything correctly to the fullest, it's like, wow. You know, they're kind of like, they really are experts in what they do.
Yeah, for me, I like it. It's just kind of, I like things that I can really dive into and learn a lot about. And for me, there's so much into working out and like bodybuilding. Like, there's like kind of my focus lately has been like getting into bodybuilding, but there's so many different like sports within lifting. Like, you could do bodybuilding, CrossFit, powerlifting, you know, just training for strength. And just so with all that in there, there's like so many different nuances to different ways that you train. So it's like, well, I can be, you know, in the gym for 5 years every single day and still be learning new things. And now with all these guys being on YouTube and stuff and it becoming way more popular, there's just so much that you can learn out there. So many guys that are like going to break down, like, this is how many pounds of muscle you can gain in your life. This is the best, you know, XYZ that you can take. And so it makes it a lot easier to learn a lot.
And to go back to what you said about art, when I parked next to your car, I noticed that you had a big painting in the back of your car.
Yes.
Tell us the story behind that.
So, not yesterday, Wednesday, I happened to go on a date to the Minneapolis Institute of Art, and we were there, so checking out all the art and whatnot, and then I snapped a couple pictures of art for ideas. That comes up later. And then on our way out, walking my car, which got very lost in the way too, but then we found it. And then on the way back, we saw that painting. We're like, oh, we can take that and like, do something with it.
He was just sitting out?
Yeah, just on a tree. Just hanging out.
Painting on a tree?
Well, not like hanging from the tree, just like leaned against the tree.
Next to the art museum?
Well, like a couple blocks away, but yeah.
Was there like a house that like somebody put it out? To, like,
No, it was in a park. Like, it wasn't from the art museum. It was just like a random, like,
I know,
not stock photo, but
I can see like something outside someone's house, like you're saying, like, hey, come pick it up, but like just in a park, like that's kind of.
Well, we picked it up, we started walking, and then we're like, this is too heavy, especially since we don't know where the car is. And we put it down, and then some guy's like, hey, it's free, take it. And we're like, no, we're coming back for it, don't worry.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we found my car, went back for it, and took it, and then I was like, this thing is massive. So it just takes up like the whole backseat of my car. So then we took it back to my place, and I just never like completely forgot about it. But then I'm going back over there tonight, so I just like loaded it up in my car, and then we're just gonna paint over it. And then I took I took pictures of art at the museum, and I'll like take that and kind of use that to write on it. So like there's something where I wonder if you can show. This might look terrible on camera. We'll find out. Can you? Okay, you can't really see that on camera.
Try that one. Yeah.
Okay, well that's like, whatever. I'm going to be doing some abstract stuff, hieroglyphics, and all sorts of random things to it. It's sad that you can't show your camera, that you can't show your phone on camera, because I need a visual aid for something. So, what year were you born?
94.
Do you remember Heinz Easy Squeeze?
Is that when they had like the different colors of ketchup and stuff?
I just found out about that. It was like 2000, 2001. Like totally teal, outrageous orange.
I feel like maybe I'm wrong because I was like 6 or 7 years old, but I think it was for a limited time. But like also my memory's like pretty fuzzy back.
I think they just got discontinued pretty quickly. I think they just lasted 2000 and 2001.
I felt like they tasted a little weird. I don't think they tasted like the real thing.
I could see that. Because they fortified them with vitamin C because parents were worried that it was more unhealthy than regular ketchup. So if you can do it fortified with vitamin C, I guess seems a little bit healthier.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they had to like strip the color of the tomatoes to add in the like blue and orange and all that, which just kind of sounds gross. But I just found out that was the thing the other day. I was like, whoa.
How did you find that out? Was it like on a reel or were you on the internet or something?
Yeah, I was just like, what are weird facts? And that was one of them.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Did you know that Captain Crunch has a real name? Crunch is his last name. It's Horatio Magellan Crunch.
What? Really?
Yeah. Horatio Magellan Crunch. Look it up.
What's the origin of Captain Crunch?
I don't know. But Magellan, like, that was that dude that, like, sailed down Africa, so that's in there. I don't know who
Wow,
Horatio
you did some
is.
research. Wow.
Well, I remembered high school.
I don't remember.
I paid attention. Kind of.
I can't get into, like, things. Well, I have ADD, like, you know that. I have really bad ADHD, whatever it is. It's really hard for me to, like, pay attention to things that I am not interested in. Mm-hmm. Like, it takes a lot. I don't know. It sounds really bad, but so many people have gotten mad at me for not paying attention, and I think part of it is like me like not trying as much as I could, but like it's also part like sorry I didn't hear you.
Yeah, well, I think like people don't explain it. Like we're starting to have this kind of like it's just like a weird time where I think some people are like over like, oh, I have this mental deficit, like and they really throw it out there, but then it's also like some people just really don't get it, like. Because ADHD is not like a good thing. It's not, well, you can spin it as a good thing, but it's not necessarily like a bad thing. It's just like, that's the way your brain functions. Like, it's just your dopamine is different. But if you're someone that like hasn't been around that or don't know about it or don't have it yourself, it's like, it just kind of seems like, oh, like, he doesn't want to like, pay attention to me.
Yeah.
So.
It's weird. It's kind of like a superpower because the things that you are interested
in. When you hyper-focus.
Yeah, you like. Get so into it. Like, you kind of, like, want to know everything about something. But, yeah, the things you're not, it's just, like, there's so many classes in high school where like, I just didn't pay attention, I feel like, because I didn't think it was something that I was going to be doing in the future that was related. It was really hard for me to pay attention. But there's, like, this physical universe class. You learned about the galaxy and stuff. Oh gosh, I could pay attention to that like all day. That was fun because it was fun. You know.
Yeah, I kind of had that too, but just never like. I don't know. Lately, I've been feeling like maybe just different meds or something. I just feel like I've been more like having ADHD symptoms or something. Like I just get lost. Like people talk, and then I have to like they say something, and I just completely drift off, and then like 2 minutes later, I come back. I'm like, I'm so lost in this conversation. Sometimes I can like get caught back up, but other times they like ask a question. I'm like, oh no.
Well, do you ever feel like I feel like this a lot? Like when I'm hanging out with somebody or just having a conversation, I get like. My brain gets tired, where I just kind of need to, like, not talk for a second. But it'll happen while someone's talking to me. Because if I'm talking, like, all the time, like, I just get tired. Not, like, right now, obviously, but, like, just in general.
Like after how long?
I don't know, like, so, like, I'll talk a lot on the phone, like, all day. Like, not as much anymore, but, if I go home and my girlfriend wants to talk. It's like I just talked all day, but then like she didn't see me, and I'm just like kind of tired. I like to go home and like play video games sometimes, or just relax. But I don't know. It can come off as you're kind of like a douche,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's where like communication is important, though.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I get that. I think it's hard to be social working with people all day and then like want to go home and then still like work with people.
Exactly.
You just want to do the same thing over and over and over.
Oh yeah.
Which I guess she's maybe getting that kind of more now as being a realtor herself. But yeah, it's kind of like a hard balance. You got to do something where it's like leave me alone for like an hour when I get home. Like just gonna lock myself in my room, play Fortnite, and then we can talk.
Oh, I love. It's the best.
I haven't played it in a very long time. My little brothers used to play, and when I lived at home during COVID, it was terrible because one of them would be up at like 7 a.m. screaming at Fortnite downstairs, like right outside my room. And then the other one would be up until like 2 a.m. screaming at Fortnite upstairs, directly above my room. So I just couldn't escape it. Oh, and then my stepdad, he was like building a boat or something, and he got this like little drill that just like lures like, ee. And I would just hear that for like hours every single night. It's like, oh, this is terrible. I'm just trying to do my homework, just trying to like enjoy myself, watch like Too Hot to Handle, regular COVID stuff, and it's just disturbed every night.
I think video games are really good for people. We have really social jobs, where we're talking to people and kind of consulting a lot of the time, and it's nice to go home and play video games and talk to my friends online without having to leave my house too. Feels like I already kind of drive a lot for work, and when the weekend comes, I just like to chill. But I still feel like I'm hanging out with my friends, like when I'm playing video games online. Like we're all in like a call. Like I don't know if you've heard of Discord, but yeah, I don't feel like I'm isolating myself in the bedroom, like just on my computer. There's very few like times where I really game by myself too.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like a thing that maybe other generations don't get at times, where it's like you can just be at home and still like be connected with people. Like I like to just occasionally like just randomly call someone one night, but I enjoy alone time as well, just doing like art or music things or just whatever by myself. But then like sometimes you do need a little extra like social interaction, and it's like just call someone up. Like I'm not huge into video games. Like I just play FIFA and I just do that by myself for the most part. But yeah, a lot of my friends are like graduating college or just graduated college now, so it's like it's kind of interesting to like hear them all like getting into their careers and stuff, and it's like kind of I don't know, makes you reminisce back when I was a young 19-year-old, like kind of getting out of college and figuring out stuff. So it's kind of like I don't know, I like kind of give them you should do this, you should do that.
There's so many memories that I have with like the kids I grew up with in elementary school and middle school, like playing video games online on like the Xbox,
Club Penguin,
like Halo 3 or stuff like that. Like there's a lot of good times, and you just never thought that like they would be like really good memories at the time. Like it was weird.
They shut down Club Penguin this year, I think.
I haven't been on that. It's so long.
I don't think anyone did this. They shut it down.
I I never really got the hype at that game. Like,
You were a penguin.
I know. Well, yeah,
You
but
could
like
run around.
I was just
eat fish.
walk around, but there wasn't like much else to do.
I think there's a lot of penguin games. I feel like I played a lot of Club Penguin.
Really?
Yeah, like Club Penguin and Scooby Doo was like my childhood.
Maybe it's because you're just a few years younger than me. It's probably more popular.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's just a weird child. I watched a lot of Scooby Doo. Like, every episode.
Really?
Yeah. Like a gross amount. Like, it's probably all in here. Like, if I started watching an episode, it probably would seem very familiar. But I don't know. I get that way with music. Like, I checked on my phone. I think I have just under 3,400 songs on my Apple Music. And I bet you I know the lyrics to like 60% of 2,000 to 2,500 songs.
That's funny.
And a good like 2,000 of those, like, I can tell you what song it is within the first 5 seconds. Probably within the first 3. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, when I just start hearing like a certain beat, note, melody, lyric, it's like, I know what that is.
I feel like most of my songs I like don't have lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, I like music and stuff like that too. I mean, I've been listening to more like kind of EDM. I don't even know how to like classify all the different branches of it, but I've been listening to that more at the gym, like something just like with a hard, just pulsing beat, just so I can like zone out, just lift heavy things and try not to hate myself for making myself do it.
Yeah. I like a little bit of everything. I really do. I like house music and rap, but I've definitely ventured more into country the last few years, and I'll go on like a little AC/DC streak for a bit. It's good to switch it up. I've even been listening to like jazz music when I'm just home because it like relaxes me. Like different types of ambiances, like there's Lord of the Rings ambiance, and it's just super relaxing to play. Just to have it like in the background at home, you know?
Yeah, I've been going to the record store more and just going to the dollar section and just picking out random stuff. So I have like a Rod Stewart record, a Tom Jones record, an Elvis record, and then one that's like a brass band that covers popular songs. So they've done like a couple Beatles songs on there and like Sugar Sugar, and then like Honky Tonk Woman or something like that. And like, I don't know, it's pretty cool. But I definitely want to go back just because like for $5 you can get these 5 vinyls. Listen to them, it's like, it'll take you like a whole night, so it's kind of like a thing to do for $5. And then if you like them, you keep them. And it's like, if you were to buy a new vinyl, it's $30. So you can go buy a ton of old vinyls for the same price and just kind of like have fun with it. Like, I think the Elvis vinyl is cool. I'm not like super into Elvis, but like, if it's $1, why not?
You feel like there eventually, you buy so many vinyls, you ever think to yourself, like, where am I going to put these? Or have you like thought that through?
I have a milk crate.
What's a milk crate?
Like the things you put milk in, like, little plastic boxes.
Now I look stupid, but I'm sure if I saw a picture of it, I'd be like, oh, that's a milk crate, but I can't like think of it. That's an ADD trait.
You're making me question if it's a milk crate or not.
No, you're probably right.
I could be wrong.
No, I'm usually wrong.
Yeah, I've been questioning my English a lot lately. Like, well, like, do you ever like say a word to yourself? You're like, is that even a real word?
What do you?
Like facetious? I've been saying that. I can't remember what that means. I should look it up.
I'll like say a word sometimes, and then I'll like start saying it slowly and stuff, and I'm like, is this a word? You know, like it's weird. You go down this like rabbit hole. I don't know.
Like you feel like you make up words?
Yeah. I
think that too. Like hankering. Like, have you ever heard that?
No.
Oh, I think I made that up. Because I brought that up the other day to someone. She's like, "What is that?" I was like, "A hankering." Like, you never had a hankering in your life? She's like, "No."
So what is a hankering?
Like when you want to do something. Like when you get a feeling, you're like, "Oh, I've got a hankering to go like do something."
That's hilarious. I was thinking like handkerchief or something like that.
It's kind of like, it's like craving, but just for anything. Like for me, craving is food. So you can have a hankering for a food, but you can have a hankering for an activity. Like you can't crave like going fishing, but you can have a hankering for going fishing.
So did you ever look up the word to see if it's a real word, or is that TBD?
Right, oh, I'll look it up right this second.
It's the moment of truth.
It's not looking good so far. Wi-Fi's a little slow in here. Well, when I typed in hankering, nothing auto-filled. Oh? It's a real thing.
Wow.
Oxford Dictionary. A strong desire to have or do something. Noun. Look at that. I wonder where that came from. Well, that's, that makes you feel a little bit better, because I just thought I was, like, crazy. So maybe all these words I think I'm making up are real words. I'm just using, like, funky English.
I feel like it'd be really hard for, like, us to just say a word that, like, we've never heard before, but, like, you probably heard it, like, somewhere. You just have no idea where.
Sometimes I try to make up words.
Like what?
I don't know. I haven't done it in a while.
For back to sort of the business part of things, what would you say, like, this is a really broad question, but, like, what are your goals or, like, future plans?
There's so many. I guess
maybe like in the next year or two.
I was going to go 3 years. We'll go 3 years because I think interest rates affect things for a lot of people's businesses. I think once rates start to trickle down, that people that have been on the fence, people that we've been talking to a while, and people that we don't even think are ready to buy houses are just going to be like, hey, I'm ready. So I think that will be a big increase to business. But going forward, I mean, I definitely want to like dabble in investment stuff a lot more. So kind of be that guy where it's like, try to find seller finance subject to deals or just flip deals, and then just kind of, because I have cash investors that are ready to buy any good deal at any point in time. So it's like I can start working with them from there, as opposed to just getting paid a commission. I can ask to get a percent of equity in the deal if they keep it as a rental. So that's also beneficial to me because then I can kind of start building a rental portfolio with no money out of my pocket, which I like the sound of that. And then also that's just an added service to clients going forward. Once I get more deals that I can send off, saying like, hey, I know, you maybe think about buying a rental, like I can get a management company in here for you. You put in $10K to the deal, and all of a sudden you're making $400 a month because it's subject to or whatever. So definitely want to kind of touch on that, but then also just grow my like personal business more. So kind of figure out how to, get like a lot more systems and stuff down in place. I think a benefit is that I'm 22, so like people my age should hopefully be ready to kind of start buying homes the next couple of years here, especially as rates trickle down. So yeah, I guess without giving away too much.
That's awesome. You're so young, like starting this.
I feel old.
Oh, I'm old. I'm 29.
Yeah, I have old knees. Like I can feel when it's about to rain. Like when the pressure changes, like in spring.
Like last night?
No, like in spring, like when the pressure like kind of first changes, like the first couple rains of the year.
But did you hear the rain last night?
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. At least in Plymouth, it was coming down like crazy.
Yeah, I busted out my weighted blanket, so that just kind of took me out of the game. It's like 25 pounds. It just feels like someone's laying on top of it.
Yeah, I have one too.
Yeah, well, this one's heavy. Like, because normally...
I think mine's 20.
Really?
Yeah.
Normally, I had troubles finding anything over like 15. And I saw 25 on it. Give it a whirl.
Like, they're so heavy that it's like almost a workout to like bring it like upstairs or downstairs. Like
it's a workout to roll.
Oh, yeah. To roll?
Yeah, roll over.
Oh. Well, I'm surprised you even still roll over with that on.
Yeah, I kicked off the other sheet somehow. I woke up, I was like, oh, how'd this happen?
Wow.
Yeah, I sleep weird. Very weird.
No, I sleep really weird.
Yeah, I've just been waking up a lot lately, like every hour and an hour or something. Not an hour.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Sometimes I wake up a lot, sometimes I have like nightmares all night, sometimes I just like wake up and I'm like, where am I?
Because I've been thinking about doing like a sleep test. See if I have like sleep apnea too, because like I don't think I do, but I was reading about the symptoms of it, like, and like I kind of have some of them, but like snoring, obviously, like that's a lot of people snore doesn't mean you have sleep apnea, but like waking up a lot in the middle of the night.
I think you like snore yourself awake, like
yeah,
one of those. I used to have sleep apnea, but that was because like I had bad tonsils and adenoids or something, so they got those removed, and then it was like, oh, I can breathe.
I should try.
Yeah, it'd be terrible. It'd be so ass if you got those out, because it like I got out in 7th grade. That like the younger you are, the better. Like you can't talk for 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, You can't like eat for 2 weeks.
Well, I need that.
No. It'd be a really good fast.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you would just drop pounds.
Wow.
So, I guess, 2 birds, 1 stone. You could breathe better, stop snoring.
Not talking for 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, you can get an app that you, like, click into and access stuff. It's like they like laser your throat. They, like, chop that shit off and cauterize it back in there. Like, day one, it was like, I started talking because I had the anesthetic, like, still in me right after the surgery. And then, like, from talking, like, this, like, the scab kind of broke, and then blood started kind of trickling down my throat. And you can't process blood, so if you get enough blood in your stomach, you just throw up. But you have so much, like, acid in your stomach that if you throw up on a freshly, like, cauterized wound that's just been opened, I think that would be excruciating. So I was doing everything in my power to not throw up. So it's just, like, cold rags on my face, and just, like, and just, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But then, I feel a lot better afterwards, so.
My brother had his tonsils taken out when we were young, but I don't know why.
Which brother?
I only have one.
Oh, really?
Where my younger brother bred. Yeah.
I
was so young.
Did you guys always get confused as brothers? Like, not brothers, as, like, the same person? Because he said, like, that people would be like, hey, I saw you in the gym the other day. He'd be like, yeah, that's not me.
Yeah, because we both went to University of St. Thomas. I graduated in 2016, and he graduated in 2018, so we were there for like 2 years together. And just on campus or like going out, like people would come up to me and like just try to high five me. And, like I didn't know because I thought it was him, and vice versa.
Yeah. Did you get that in high school too, or was it kind of like
no?
You look little, like the age gap is different.
Well, there's just everyone kind of knows you have a brother. I feel like more in high school versus like college, like brand new people like coming in. So yeah, it's kind of funny. It doesn't really happen as much anymore, obviously, just because like we're out of school and not as fun and cool and kind of boring now.
I had that the other day. So the girl that I went to the art museum with, I noticed that we kind of look like siblings in a gross way, like in a really gross way. I honestly shouldn't say this on the podcast. To it. So when we were leaving the art museum, this lady like turned around for whatever reason. And I guess we both looked at her in the eye, and we both had like similar eyes that just kind of blue, like I don't know how to describe it, but similar eyes. And this lady looks at us, she's like, "You guys both have just the most beautiful eyes." I was like, "Oh, thanks." And then after she walked away, I'm like, I bet people kind of think we look like siblings. Because we both have curly hair, both have like similar like eye structure and the same like look in the eyes. I mean, that's pretty much it, but it's just like, that's enough. Like, not everyone has brown curly hair or like very, like, I feel like I've never met another person that's had eyes that look like mine or like some of my family's. So it's like kind of irregular. And then we were at like another store later, and like I knew the guy behind the counter, and he was like, "Oh, like, hey, like, are you guys brother, sister? Like, you guys look so alike." I was like, No, please don't say that. Please don't say that. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that a lot. Just can't ever be seen in public, I guess.
Yeah, you definitely have like a very like rare makeup with like blue eyes and like curly hair.
Yeah, it's
skin.
weird.
Yeah,
it's not supposed to happen this way. I don't think. Like when I was born,
what way is it supposed to happen?
It's supposed to be darker, man. Like when I was born, everyone was like, "Wait, what?"
Really?
Yeah, my mom said that. Like I was born, and she was like, "Oh," and then she's like, "Wait, what? It's a lot lighter than I was expecting." For those of you who don't know, like my dad's black, like born in Jamaica, and so that's where I get like this semi-golden complexion. But my mom's quite white, so I guess that just washed out all those black genes. So I still kind of got like the curly hair, but it's nowhere near. Obviously, it's not kinky hair; it's just curly hair. And then my skin tone is obviously a lot lighter. Like we'll see if it comes across on camera. I have like a hella tan line on here. If you could maybe see that, I'm like, oh yeah, you can see it there.
Oh
yeah, but that's all from like pretty much from like one day out in the sun. Like I just haven't spent enough time out in the sun this summer, which I was like, I'm gonna get tan this summer, and I didn't. But normally, like one good day out in the sun, like late in the summer, it's like boom, 4 shades darker.
Oh, same, yeah. Because I'm Irish, Norwegian, Serbian, and German, and the
I'm
German.
all that except for Serbia.
Yeah, but I got like the Serbian and the German skin from my dad's side, and like when I'm out in the sun, even for like a couple hours, if it's hot, like there's immediate like skin color change, like it's crazy.
So you're those 4 things.
I think so. I want to do like a test, and I'll be
Sure.
I'm sure there's more stuff to it, but
they're cool because they show you, like, it goes way back. Like, I did an ancestry one, and I'm trying to remember what all was on it. Because it said I was 13 different like nationalities in me, so it's kind of hard to like memorize where all that goes. But like, it's cool because, and if you go back, like, my dad was born in Jamaica, my grandma was born in Jamaica, like her parents were born in Jamaica, so it'd be easy for it to say like just, Jamaican and then whatever on my mom's side, like Jamaican, German, Irish, whatever. But it goes back to like Africa, which I think is interesting because obviously like with slavery that like really ruins a lot of family like history, culture, and all that. So it's like I can see like, oh, I'm like from 5 different African countries, and they all like, unfortunately we're all brought together in this one spot, kind of a little melting pot, and then all got turned into this guy.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what people look like, in 100 years. Everybody's just going to be mixed with everything.
They'll just all look like me and Tiger Woods.
So what are some past struggles that you've had, and like how have you gotten past them?
I mean, I think there's a lot there. I think like a big one is kind of getting like just learning and getting over the curve and just kind of figuring out like how to speak real estate, how to talk to people, and also learning how to like manage myself, my time, and my business. So starting out as like a 19-year-old, it's first off, people are like, you look super young, which I did because I was. And so the first, like that means you don't know anything. Like, you look young, so what can you know? And, you can bat that with knowing things. Like, people don't really, if you know everything and you're young, like, people don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. It's just a bad thing when you're young and you don't know things. So when you're starting out and then you're young, it's kind of difficult. So I just spent a lot of time watching Tom Ferry videos and just trying to do what I can and just learn from people to try to figure out real estate and all that, but it definitely took a while. I did most of my learning once I came up here. So I was in Wisconsin for like a year and a half, and just, maybe it's part of being 19, maybe it was just, I wasn't on a team, I guess. I think that's probably the biggest thing, is I came up here, I joined a high-producing team, and I was able just to learn from a lot of people that were selling a good amount of houses, and kind of learn the team structure and have things streamlined. And I think that just, like, in a very short period of time, I was able to learn a lot of things. Like, it took me, I don't know, like 9 months of having a license in Wisconsin to sell my first house. And then I came to Minnesota, and it took like 2-3 months to get something under contract. And it's like, oh wow, like, I'm ready to do Minnesota forms. And it wasn't like it was a team lead, like it was someone from an open house. So, oh wow. Yeah. It was just cool to, kind of get a second chance to come up here and learn a lot. And so now it's like, I don't know, people assume I'm older than I am because I sit quiet and I just kind of keep to myself a little too much sometimes. But I think part of that too is just because like I carry myself a little differently than I used to, and I kind of know how to talk real estate. So I think people go, you must be like 25, 26.
You definitely act very mature.
I try
for your age.
I'm like the oldest one in my family, so I think that like does it a little bit.
Yeah,
big bro.
So when I started doing mortgages in like August of 2019, so it was a refinance boom. Like there was 2. There's kind of one in 2019, and then there was kind of one in 2020 to 2021.
I was starting my first college classes that one.
Really? That's crazy. So I had our company, we're a mortgage broker. We buy like refinance leads, and everybody was refinancing. So for the first couple of years, I didn't even like go after purchase business. I didn't even have anybody really come to me to get pre-approved or anything like that because I just didn't go after it. And then I ended up having open heart surgery in like May of 2020. I had a congenital like bad heart valve and it just had to get replaced. So
was it the valve or your whole heart?
It was the whole heart. No, I'm just kidding. It was just a valve. So they put that in, but working in a job like this, when you take like a month or two off, it's just, that could not be good. So I had to kind of overcome that. And then, yeah,
you only took a month off?
What?
You only took a month off?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Jeez. Like, what's the recovery time on that? Like, you probably can't, like, do anything too strenuous or, can't, like, breathe too much or...
Right? Yeah, it's definitely painful, like, recovering, but probably like 3 months, it's like normal, but it's after like a month or so, you can drive again and stuff.
Do you have, like, lasting pain from the surgery?
No. For like a year or something, like, I could feel like stuff click because they wire your chest back together, but no really pain. Like, I kind of like don't even remember that it happened. Like, it everything's like kind of normal, like physically.
Like, do you ever like take off your shirt and you're like, oh, I guess I had heart surgery?
Yeah, that's kind of like, I honestly forget about it until I just do that. But yeah, it's a huge scar. I tell people I got bit by a shark. Because they feel so bad for you, like they kind of give you the benefit of the doubt. But like, a shark bite would never be like this.
A bear attack would be way more likely.
Yeah, just the one claw coming down, like the Revenant.
Mm-hmm. Haven't seen that.
You haven't, Leo? I want to rewatch it. Like,
I boycott Leo.
Why?
I don't know. I figured I'd get a reaction.
Oh, okay. He's such a good actor, dude. Leo. He makes everything feel real, like what he's playing. It's nice.
Yeah, I like actors like that where they can like play any role. There's certain actors where like, yeah, they're good, but like they just play the same dude like over and over again. It's like that's your personality. Like you're just an interesting person. You're not like a great actor. Yeah, to my point of view. I don't know why I know that movies, but I just like someone that can be a comedian. Kind of like I had something. It'll come to me in 20 minutes.
But I was like looking back on Leo movies a little bit ago, and Shutter Island and Inception came out in the same year, which is just crazy. Like, those are both like 3-hour movies that came out in the same year with him, when they're that good. Like, that's just kind of rare these days to have like this big actor with 2 big movies, in the same year. Like, it's obviously happened before, but like those were like such long movies where you just think about like the filming and how long those took to even be made.
Yeah, I guess it must have lined up where you just probably filmed them both the same year, and one just took probably like 6 months longer than the other to get edited or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But back to the open heart surgery, recovered from that, was still doing a lot of like refis and like cash out refis. People were consolidating things at a lower interest rate just into their mortgage. And then like January of 2022 came, and rates started to go up and stuff, and I was going more after like the purchase business because I knew that's what I had to do, and trying to just grow like my business and who I am and try to get referrals. But I'd say I did pretty good for like what I was given at the time. It was just such a rapid like market flip. It was almost like I get these emails like every day, rates go up, rates go down, whatever, but it was just going one way.
Yeah, you started
for the longest time. It still is, but like it's...
Yeah, because coming into that year, I think rates were below 3% still, like just barely.
Oh, yeah.
Like 2.9.
Yeah.
And then by May, they were 6%.
It's crazy. Yeah. Like...
What is happening? Yeah, I had someone who like looked at a house, kind of like dilly-dallied on there for like 2 weeks, and his rate went up like 1% in that time period. It's like, this payment went up $160. Like, oh my god. So crazy. But, I guess kind of what are some of your favorite parts of the job? I mean, I think like everyone loves getting to closing and kind of having that like good emotions, but I guess like what else for you is, like what makes you do it?
I do it because before I got into like a sales type role, I always looked at like salespeople as like they're just trying to like take advantage of you and whatnot. And now I'm like really seeing what sales is all about. It's not about just like convincing someone to do something. It's more of a consultant and like teaching role. So I really like explaining things to people for the first time and walking them through the process and like just seeing them understand it and feel comfortable from like where they were before, like that's really rewarding to me. And then like just being at the closing and, you know, having them all excited, and trying to have them walk away with it being so much easier, you know, than they thought it like was going to be. Like that's why I do it. Like I love that.
You could be like a teacher in your past life.
Yeah, I love. Not saying I'm like a guru on anything, but like I just like making people feel good about, you know, this and inform them about decisions they make, and just being a great resource all around, just doing the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of the people that kind of stick with it are people that like enjoy that interpersonal part of it, like the emotional side of it. Either that or people just make a lot of money and don't want to walk away from that. But I think like generally like, I mean, it's a tough business, and to do this year after year after year, like to do it for 30 years, like it's gotta be more than just the money, you know? Like it's gotta be, you have to like enjoy working with the people, or, you know, there's gotta be some other aspect to it than that.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's crazy to think about like the people that have been doing this for like 20, 30 years, and like we started at a relatively easier time. And you think about like 08, you know, and people that like started before that and are still doing it now. Mm-hmm. It really, like, people that get through the tougher times, you really just see you really admire just how they kept going through it, you know, and stuck with it. And just always doing things to better their business or people. And a lot of it's like not even really like closing deals or anything. It's you're doing stuff like in the slower times to make the better time, take advantage of the better times. Yeah. But we're definitely, it's cool to see. Now we like know the market cycle. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, to an extent. I feel like we'll have an unexpected turn or something at some point in time. Clip that. I just lost my train of thought a little bit. No, I think like anything worth having, like obviously it takes a lot of effort, and I think like people don't realize that. And you know, I think like anyone can get lucky, anyone can have one good year. Like if you're slightly talented and you walk into a great situation, like you can do really well. But I think to have like greatness, to do it year after year after year after year, and you know, doing it for 20 years at a high level, like, you know, probably the people you're thinking of are like, it takes that consistent effort. It takes a lot more than just kind of, you know, I guess waltzing into a good situation. So it takes like constant grinding, constant putting in that effort, constant like doing the things that everyone else doesn't want to do. You know, that's kind of like the way that, you know, I aspire to be constantly, which is kind of hard to do that, you know, 24/7, but just try to be more like, just, you know, don't listen to yourself, don't listen to the way you feel, just shut up and do the work and just do it over and over and over again, and then see the results.
Yeah, I mean, there's always business out there. Doesn't mean it's good. Just because it's going to be hard, right? Doesn't mean you can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, deals close every day. Like, anything's possible.
I think, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, people sell 100 houses a year. Like, so it's, you know, get a small chunk of that, you can do very, very well for yourself.
Yeah. Well, and the way I see it, too, is, you know, we're kind of fighting tooth and nail just to find, like, the people that are buying now, or I know it's different for selling on your end, but I mean, I see it as every loan I do now, you know, I'm going to redo them at least one more time, you know, probably 2, maybe 3. Like, it just really depends. And that kind of makes up for the tougher times too. I know you guys don't really have that advantage, but like, you guys have other advantages we don't too.
Yeah. I mean, we could maybe, like, if I keep going down that investment route, I mean, once, you know, say rates get better, then people might be like, oh, like, prices are going up, I have more equity in my house, like, maybe I'll go buy an investment or something like that. Or if I'm, like, sourcing deals, you know, maybe it's just an extra source of income that I can find. But, I mean, you never know. You just try to keep trying new things and keep reinventing and just kind of see what I can do to make something happen going forward.
It's just so fun kind of having your own business, you know, and like running everything, and just putting the passion into it every day. It's like, how can I expand my reach? Like, how can I get better? It's just kind of like my baby, you know, like I love it. It's like, an art. It's a grind.
Yeah.
I like the grind feels good to me. You know,
there's something romantic about grinding. It's kind of like a little art, like not a science. You know, like there's no one right way to do it. Like you can talk to 10 very successful people, and like they'll all tell you 10 different things. I mean, there's obviously consistencies between all of them, but like the way that all of them achieve their success is probably different, and the way that they continue to have success is probably different.
And yeah, there's no right way to do it. You kind of learn on your own. Just one thing at a time has helped me. Don't focus on 10 different things at once, or like 6 months from now, focus on what you do today. You know, break it down, and things are a lot simpler that way.
Yeah, the tough thing with real estate though is that it's 90 days to see the fruits of your labor. So it's like you gotta start grinding, and it's like I think that's hard for a lot of people. It's like to grind for 90 days, 120 days, and not necessarily see results. And that's like the weird thing about real estate, because sometimes you just work really hard for months and months and months, and like nothing comes together, and then all of a sudden like everything comes together out of nowhere. Like what's happening? Like what? So it's just it's just weird like that. You just have to keep going and just trust the process and hope that'll happen at some point in time.
Well, it's one of those things where it's even newer people starting it. Nothing's really done until it closes, right? Like you can put so much work in, do absolutely nothing wrong, and there's an issue at close, which is why you need a good mortgage person. But just in general, the sellers could back out, or someone could lose their job, and the deal falls apart. Like there's so many things, and that's why you can't ever just stop like doing the little thing, because things are going to fall apart. When you stop doing the little things that really make your business, is when I see like kind of people get in trouble. And I've done that too, and I've learned the hard way. You have to like always be doing a little bit of everything. You can't just stop.
Multiple lines in the water, multiple different ways to prospect.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's what keeps it interesting, is that there's just so many different moving pieces, and you kind of get to a point where maybe you're a little bit slower. You're like, cool, let's like work on my business, and you get to a point where you're like so busy that's like, cool, I gotta like work with all these clients. It's just never ending. I think that also is kind of part of it. Was a difficulty at 19 starting out. It's just like, how do I structure my day? How do I structure my life? But I think like again, another huge benefit was joining a team, joining EXP, getting to a place where there's a lot of value, a lot of people that are succeeding at a high level around me. A cool thing, I don't know if I've told you about this, but we have like this fast forward movement Zoom. So every Monday we have like an hour-long Zoom where it's like there's 3 topics, people submit questions, and it's like what are you guys doing to get buyers offers accepted right now? Or what are you seeing in your market? Or what do you do for mailers? How do you get business this way? How do you get business that way? So that's been awesome to have that. Just it almost gives me too many ideas sometimes. I'm like, whoa, it's crazy. But that's just been really, really nice just to learn from them. And the guys that run it are Kyle Whistle and Dan Beer. So they run the number 1 and number 2 teams in San Diego. So like combined their teams did like $1 billion in volume last year, I think. Jeez. Yeah, they crush a lot of business.
Yeah, I think you told me about these people one time.
Yeah, no, they do a lot of business, and they're really smart. And then there's other offshoots too, like Dan Beer's number 1 guy is Brian Danny, a team agent that does $110 million a year.
That's a good last name.
Yeah. And he does like Zooms, he does role play on Friday. So he just spins a wheel, you get a topic, and then just like role play back and forth to learn stuff. It's like, that's cool too. And then we do master classes. That's like one agent who's really good at something will sit down for an hour and just break down like what they do. Like, so it would be like, here's how I sell 10 homes a month doing expired listings. And so like having all that's also been really, really cool. And so just, I guess joining a team was probably the best thing I could do for myself, especially being a young realtor.
Oh, 100%. There are so many things to learn in real estate and mortgage, and my gosh, I couldn't imagine like going into mortgages without any like guidance or help. There's so many little guideline things that like if you don't know them, like you're gonna run into issues.
Yeah.
Like I think just the mortgage guideline book, just like one of them is like 1,200 pages. Like it's like, yeah.
Have you read that?
You kind of just come across things you need to know, like, well.
You don't know it line by line? Might have to
It's
report
because it's always changing. So you could know everything, and it would change. And there's different ways to
our contracts change every year. We have to learn that.
25 pages. How long are they?
I think the PA is 12.
Wow.
Something like that, 11, 12. One page is all signatures too.
Well, there's different, we're a broker, so there's different lenders we work with, kind of find the best fit for the client, but some of the guidelines are loose, so they can be interpreted different ways. So you could have, one lender be more strict on something than another, which is really interesting.
Do you think it's better or worse, or I guess just neutral, to have strict or flexible guidelines? Because when I think flexible, part of me is that would be nice for someone that's meets a line, they're very qualified, but they just have an extra $5,000 in debt that they will pay off in a month. But on the other hand, maybe you have someone who really shouldn't be buying a house, but you stretch things and then they can buy the house. But then on the flip side, if it's super strict, it's vice versa. It helps with one thing but hurts with the other.
There is a little bit of lender discretion where they could make their own overlays on things. So you have the regular guidelines, and then they can make their own rules too on top of those guidelines. So it is nice to have certain lenders that are less picky than others on things, and just having that option. But yeah, I know it's crazy. I mean, especially VA loans, you can have all your most of your debt take up most of your income and still get approved. It's crazy.
Really? What's the maximum DTI for that?
The highest debt to income ratio I've had on a VA is a 74%.
Wow.
Yeah.
So for people who might not know, what is DTI?
DTI is your debt to income ratio. So it's basically just a percentage of how much debt you have. So like a car payment and any other payments, along with what your new mortgage payment would be.
So this person, if they're making $10,000 a month, they pay $7,400 a month in debt, essentially.
Yep.
So how does a house? Is that with house payment in there?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, how do they have room for a house?
Yeah. But the VA, they insure a lot of the loan. So it's kind of a way of giving back and having those higher net income or riskier loans out there. But yeah, it's just crazy the variance. USDA loans are probably the most strict debt to income.
For the most part, it's about 50% or so, right?
Yeah, generally, you're looking at that 50% to 56.99 for FHA, and usually about don't quote me on this, around 34% for USDA.
Wow. So are they just more picky with that just because it's zero down?
Yeah, exactly. They just really want to make sure
you're really qualified.
Yeah, or if you take out more debt after the closing, there's still some room too, so
yeah.
Because if they have no skin in the game because they're putting zero down, it's they could easily go buy something else too. So that's why they want just to start lower, I think. Do we have any other questions that we want to go over?
No, up to you. I can just keep rambling about random shit in my personal life, or we can call it in.
Let's do one last question. Let's do. Well, this is kind of what past struggles have you had? But we'll skip that one. What advice do you think your future self would give to you?
Ooh, I like this one, even though I wrote it. Props to myself.
Well, I wanted to make sure we still get into the questions because we kind of started off going.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know. I just didn't want to forget about it. That's all.
No, I kind of like that one because it's it kind of makes you think differently. What advice would your future self give to you now? So it's for me, my thought behind that question is try to extrapolate. I guess if I hit my goals, if I become the person I want to be 5 years from now, what would that person tell me now, or 10 years or whatever? I'm going to need a minute to think about that because I'm not prepared.
Okay. Want me to go quick?
Yeah, do you have something?
Yeah. I would, just to break it down, I think what my future self would tell me now is, like, focus. Just focus.
Why is that?
I feel like you can't, like, not succeed if you're, like, focusing on doing what you have to do. I think a lot of it comes down to just not doing what you have to do. Because there's just no way you can succeed or get to where you want to be if you're focusing and doing what you have to do. You know, unless you get hit by, like, a bus or something.
You could still succeed and get hit by a bus.
Yeah. But, like, it would set you back. It could set you back. Yeah, that kind of sounds
It depends on how hard it hits you. 7 miles an hour? Recoverable.
That's about how fast I go.
Yeah. But if you're going like 27, but I think anything under 10 is probably good.
I just think my future self, I deal with like stress and focus, so I think, you know, not taking everything so seriously, being able to step back a little bit, but also not forgetting what you have to do.
Yeah, I probably tell myself the same thing. Like, I feel like it'd be all stress related, like just get out of your head a little bit more, like just don't overthink it, like just, and I guess focus, like just, you know, just do the things you have to do and just don't think about it. Like, I think a hard thing for a lot of people, or almost everyone, is like, say you're cold calling, it's like everyone gets in their head and it's like whatever the thought is, like, my voice sounds weird, I'm not going to know what I'm going to say, or they're going to be mean to me, or like whatever. But it's like once you get out of your own head, you're like, whatever, I'm just going to do it. Like, I mean, yeah, some people are going to be mean to you, and yeah, some people might not like the way your voice sounds or whatever, but it's like, it's just more so about doing the thing that's going to get you to your goal. Because, I mean, I don't know, I had someone like years ago that was really nasty on the phone, and I was like, oh, it's terrible. But now it's like, whatever, it's been in the past. And it's like, that's kind of, I guess something I've been trying to focus on more too is like, time really heals all. So it's like, you know, it might suck now, like, it's not enjoyable to pick up the phone and call a bunch of random people or to go knock on random people's doors, but if it makes you get that much closer to your goal, it's probably something you should be doing.
Yeah, and just going on cold calling, like, I'll still make calls to, like, leads and stuff now, not as much, but just kind of like your mindset, too. Like, I've never just called someone who, like, didn't inquire somewhere, right? So if they want to get mad at me, you know, they were interested at one point, like, I'm just calling to help them. I'm not, like, I'm not going to make someone that doesn't want to do anything. I'm going to just explain it to them. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of it's mindset. But yeah, I've had so many people get mad at me before on the phone.
Yeah, and it's, you know, interesting. I think maybe part of it is like on those websites. So if you don't know, when you're on Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, all those websites, they have that button that's like, show me this house or whatever it says. And then you click that button, and then they're going to call you, and then they're going to ask you questions, and then they're going to connect you with a realtor. And a lot of people, like on average, 90% of the people, or I guess it depends on which site, I don't know, call it 90% of the people, though, are just not going to end up buying a house either at all or with you, which is kind of weird. But I think a lot of it is like people either aren't prepared or they're just like, I don't want to work with a realtor, which is kind of like a thing that we were talking about earlier is like, that buyer consult is so important. You don't know what you don't know. And so it can be kind of difficult and frustrating at times. But it's like, let me help you.
Yeah. Just going at things, just trying to help and be a consultant and help people make informed decisions. That's what it's all about. Well, thanks for having me today. Yeah. This is the first one. I feel honored.
Inaugural podcast, yeah.
I'm honored.
I hope it all recorded. I really do.
We're going to find out in a second.
Yeah, honestly, well, I tested it out earlier, so like I recorded for a little bit, and then I put it on my laptop, so I had this stuff on there, but I'm like, I don't know, I guess I didn't click it to see if it, like, video recorded well, but...
Oh, it for sure recorded, dude. It says ISO record.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just hope it all, like, is in there the way it should be.
Wait.
What? Just hit stop.